Hey, everybody. It is Peter and Sal here from Strong Healthy Women, and welcome to Talking Wellbeing TV, where we share hints, tips, and advice about the foundations of wellbeing, which are move, eat, and live. And today we want to talk about eat. And it is a very unexpected but very powerful approach to eating that we want to talk about today. And so, how are you, Sue? Sal, God, that was a good start, wasn't it?
That was a great start to the day.
Sue just
Two
messaged
different
me.
coloured hairs.
No, Sue just messaged me and it just popped up on the screen. Hello, Sue, as well too, out there listening. Hey, Sal, how are you today?
Good. I am so excited. I have finally got my earbuds working. It's been 8 months of Googling and searching and researching, and I finally got them working. So I'm a bit happy today.
Well, I did notice that you actually walked off and I could still hear you today. And I went, oh, there you go. Sue just said g'day. Hey. Oh, dear. Here, we'll just pop that up because Sue's going to say hello to everybody out there in the cyber world as well, too.
So that's Sue with the blonde hair. This is Sal with the black hair.
Yeah, that's right. I do know the difference. Anyway, let's get started because I do want to talk about this approach to eating. And I mean, quite often we think that we eat super healthy, but sometimes what might happen is we may be overeating or we may be under eating, or we might be grazing all day long. And this is one of the things that was highlighted to me by one of our gorgeous women who are doing our Fueled Up program at the moment. So she has actually said that she was a grazer, so she would just eat, all day. So she said she was connected to herself, and when she felt hungry, what she would do is eat. And then if she wasn't hungry, then she wouldn't eat. But it was never like proper meals. She would have proper meals for the kids, but she wouldn't actually have proper meals for herself. And so what's happened is by doing Fueled Up, she's having these 3 meals throughout the day. And she said it's really surprising because she's not feeling hungry. She's definitely feeling more energized. But what she's also noticed is that she would go for those little sweetie treats in the afternoon. And, she would tell herself, well, it's okay because I don't really eat big meals. I'm just grazing throughout the day. So therefore, that's okay to have these little sweetie treats. But she had noticed that, she was starting to get that little bit of something around her, tummy area. And that was one of the reasons that she joined. But I really love the fact how she is, every week she's deep. When we do our check-ins on Friday, there's an email comes through and it's gone, here's my results. Here's what I've noticed. So she's actually listening to what her body is telling her. And I've actually written about this in this week's email that goes out tonight as well, too. It is the fact that our body speaks to us. We just need to slow down enough to listen to it. Have you ever had an experience like that, Sal, or where you really slowed down enough that you've heard what your body is saying to you?
Not so much that I've slowed down, but I did have a aha moment where, and I've spoken about this before as well, where you just go, what am I doing? And it was the fact that I had gone for my shower, 10 o'clock at night, had my shower, brushed my teeth, and I mindlessly walked down the stairs, went to my fridge and reached for a chocolate. And I stopped.
Yeah, okay.
And I went, what? Why? Why am I doing that? A, I've just brushed my
Mm-hmm.
teeth. B, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
hungry. And C, I'm not craving anything sweet. It
Right.
was just
Right.
a
Yep.
mindless, this is what I do after dinner, so this is what I'll keep doing. And I wasn't thinking about it until I actually got to the fridge and went, what? Why?
Yeah.
There's no point. There's no
Yeah.
point in what I'm doing.
Because it had become part of your ritual, part of your routine.
Mm.
It was that you had a chocolate or whatever it happened to be after your meal. And I'm wondering whether, you grew up like I did, where you'd have your meal, but you actually had dessert afterwards.
We didn't have so much have dessert, but I will say this,
Mm.
that the kids, man, hers was, she would have chocolates in her handbag, or if we'd have dinner over there
Yeah.
with the kids, it would be, do you guys want a chocolate? And there'd be 1,000 chocolates in the fridge. So after dinner,
Yes.
it was a chocolate after dinner. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So we had things like, baked rice and, jelly, so there would always be those little special desserts, but they were generally these homemade things. And actually, that brings me to a funny story. My twin boys, as you know, but those out there may not know this, they both did an apprenticeship as chefs, so they actually are qualified chefs. And so when they were going through this process, they had to do a period where they were specifically working in a specific area. And this one area happened to be they were doing desserts. And so every night you'd get brought home these amazing desserts from work, from what they had made, what they'd been practicing. And I'd go, just stop with the desserts, can you? It's just seriously. Because what had happened is I had broken that routine of having those sweet things after dinner that I had grown up on. And then all of a sudden, all those childhood memories were coming back for me, eating these marvelous desserts, of, helping Nana in the kitchen and all that type of stuff. And it was like, we have to stop those desserts. They're just going to go straight to my head. On occasion, yes, definitely. But yeah, not every single night of
Not
the
every
week.
night.
So
Yep.
no, not every night. So, ladies, and that brings us to a really, really good part. So, if you've been raised, in the, 50s, 60s, 70s, like, I have been, and you may have had those desserts, then think about it. Is that, and you've been trying to break that routine, that ritual that you've got of having those sweets, it could possibly be that it goes back down to your childhood. So you can actually spend some time after your meal, rather than thinking about the sweet things and eating the sweet things, you could actually just spend a moment just in your mind, walking down memory lane and thinking about, maybe the beautiful smells that were in the kitchen, or the interaction that you had with your parents, or whatever the memory was. And that's going to give you that same beautiful feeling inside as that dessert or those sweet treats that you're having, that you are not doing you any service and that you really want to give up anyway. So
Yeah.
there's a little tip
Yeah.
for you. Yeah. So, Sal, do you want to lead us anywhere else right now? Or
I
shall we
want
move
to
on to the
lead.
next one?
No, I just want to go back to the grazing that you were talking about, and grandkids or kids. If you do have grandkids or
Mm.
kids, and if they're eating maybe earlier than what you do, are
Yeah.
you grazing? Are you grazing off their plates, or are you grazing
Oh,
off
yeah.
whatever you're cooking for them? So if they get a
Yeah.
treat of, might be nuggets and chips or whatever, are you having a little pick at what they're eating? Because that can have an effect on on your weight as well.
Yeah, yeah, it totally can. Um, one of the things that I saw in one of the emails, and I've seen it a couple of times now, where it's come through and it's actually said, "I'm not that person." So that's been a really interesting thing to break that down with that wonderful lady that's in the group with us, and to go, well, why do you think you're not that person? It's like saying to yourself, I'm not an exercise person. Um, are you a person who wants to keep moving? Are you a person who moves? Then that's a form of exercise. So you are that person. It's just this thing that we have in our head that goes back down again to that childhood of ours, that we believe we're a certain way, or we believe that we have to eat a certain way. And I know for myself, I was brought up on cornflakes, sugar, banana, and full cream milk. Breakfast, lunch, sandwiches, and meat and three veg for dinner. Having some type of international cuisine was nothing that was remotely even considered in our house. The biggest treat we would have is, fish and chips on a Friday evening. But that was it. Every meal was cooked at home. So there's some valuable lessons in that from growing up, that we knew that you cooked and you ate at home. You actually didn't go out for meals. And but what it also did was I grew up in a generation where it was a lot of processed food, that processing of food was starting to become something that was quite normal. And so when I actually moved out of home, I didn't have all of those opportunities available to me. I only had a small amount of money to spend on food. So I was very conscious about what to buy, and I started experimenting with different foods and how to stretch them further. So I would consider myself I call myself the one pot wonder, because I'm very good at being able to pull meals together that are on a shoestring budget, but are still relatively healthy. Because what I started to do then was to experiment with different tastes and to actually connect with it as I was eating this food, and there would be things that I'd go, wow, I'm just never having this again. This is just horrible. Or there would be foods there that I go, oh, wow, okay, I really, really love this. I will definitely have this again. So I started to listen and feel it within what I was experiencing. So, and I think that's the really important thing, is when we're trying to eat healthy, it's to slow ourselves down and to experience the food, to actually enjoy the taste. It's like, if you want to have a piece of chocolate, have a piece of chocolate, not a row, not a whole piece, but slow yourself down and just take that small bite and just feel the textures and the flavor and experience the moment. Anything to offer up on that, Sel?
When you do have that piece of chocolate, or you are going for that piece of chocolate, or you think, no, I'm going to have a row of chocolate, once again connecting, but also connecting with if your goal is to lose weight,
Yep.
connect with, what is this piece of chocolate costing me? 2 Oreo cookies is 10 flights of stairs to get rid of 2 Oreo cookies. So that's connecting and going, okay, so is this of benefit to me, or do I then have to work harder?
Yeah, and of course those Oreo cookies are not necessarily the healthy option, as opposed to having an orange as an example, and
Exactly.
some nuts. Yeah. so you can get more out of that orange and the nuts as opposed to those Oreo cookies. I actually don't see the fascination with those things. Do you? Do you like them?
No, the kids love them.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
It's like I tried them. Yeah, my grandkids love them too, and it's like, oh,
yeah,
yuck. These, yeah. So I don't know the fascination with them. So there we have it.
yes.
So I think that also what we tend to do is maybe just eat where we're at. So we might eat at our desk. And you know, I saw this. I was going to say something. I was in the bank the other day and I needed some stuff done with my bank account. And the lady was lovely who was helping me, but she didn't know how to solve a problem. And so she walked out the back and then the supervisor then came out and you can tell she's eaten the lunch, right? And so she came out to help and, they've got it solved and that was great. But it was like this woman who's having her lunch, she shouldn't be having her lunch in that back room at her desk where everybody's got access to her, because I know she went back to eat and then the other person at the other register or the other teller went out and asked her a question. She came back out again and I thought, she needs to be sitting there enjoying her lunch. She needs to walk away from that room and go somewhere else. And it's so true that our environment that we're eating in can have such a massive impact on how we enjoy that food. Just taking those deep breaths before you eat, being more mindful of it, and really connecting to your emotions. Because if you are feeling down and gloomy, then what's going to happen is you're going to probably rely on that food a lot. So connecting with your emotions when you're eating is such an important thing because you start to identify the patterns. So when the ladies started the Fueled Up program, they all got sent a journal to write in. And so I've been really encouraging them to write down exactly how they're feeling, the exercises that they're doing, what they're grateful for, just anything that really if they're feeling frustrations, to write that down as well too, because when you can write it down, you are just really getting it out there and you're not bottling it up. And it really helps you feel a lot happier and more content in yourself. And it means you're going to enjoy that food that you're eating a little bit more as well too.
And think about
Anything to add, Lisa?
think about where, when you're having your meals, as you just said, that lady was sitting at her desk having her lunch and everyone's got access. So that tells me that she doesn't make herself a priority. Her work is her priority.
No.
If you are cooking your meal and then you're standing at the kitchen bench and you're eating your meal from the kitchen bench, not sitting, but eating, if you don't have a breakfast bar, that tells me that you're in a rush because you're eating that meal, you just cooked it, so I'm going to rush through this meal and eat it really quickly. So think about where you're eating your meal and what that priority is and why you're eating in that particular spot, I think is a good idea as well.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to add something to that, Sel, because here's an interesting thing is when we sit, we tend not to have really good posture. And so our digestive system is right here. So it's really important to be really thinking about posture when you're eating. So sitting is maybe not necessarily the best way to eat a meal. And so once a week, what we do is we actually stand at our breakfast bar. So we are eating slowly, but we're standing while we're eating. And that just helps that meal, that digestive system. So it's just something that we've been trying as well too. And it's surprising how much more communicative we are. We're actually chatting at the same time, not while we're eating, but you know what I mean. We're putting it down and talking. And I just feel like my food is processing better, which is a really interesting thing. Don't you think?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what the biggest takeaways are is to really slow yourself down, be mindful about what you're eating. If you are a grazer, start to write down exactly what you're having during the course of the day and see whether you are going for those sweet treats at the end of a day because you're going, well, I haven't really eaten that much. You might be very surprised about how much that adds up. Taking the time to reflect, taking the time to slow yourself down. And as Sal said, sit somewhere that you can actually enjoy the space and the food that you're having and really connect with those emotions and think about what your arch nemesis is, and I know that some of the ladies, just having a look here, most of them are written down chips and chocolates. But try not to tell yourself that you're that person who doesn't do something. If this is a new experience for you and you want to eat that little bit healthier, then what you want to tell yourself is that, I am this healthy person, and say it out loud. I eat healthy. I eat healthy. In every way, I eat healthy. And just really chant it and live it and be it, because the food that we eat is there to fuel our body. It's not for the social event. It is about connecting with the family. So it is a time when we are fully connecting with them, but at the same time, we're fueling our body and fueling our minds and really seeing it as an opportunity to feel healthier rather than just I'm scoffing down this food because it's dinner time.
Mm-hmm.
And you may not even be hungry in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And be honest.
Any takeaways, Sal, from you?
Be honest with what you're doing as well. Like you just suggested, writing down what you're having during the day, even during the week. But be honest about it. Don't just put down 70% of what you're eating. Put down everything. And the reason I say this is we had a client and she was a police officer, so she did shift work. And she wrote down a journal for us for a week, and it turned out she was eating a packet of Tim Tams a day and not even realizing. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was
Okay.
She was mortified that that's what she was doing, but more mortified that she didn't realize that's what she was doing. So be completely and utterly 100% honest when you're doing a food journal on what you're having during the day.
What a great point.
Even if it's one chip that you're putting in your mouth, put that one chip in. Because if you're putting one chip in your mouth 20 times a day, you've just eaten a packet of chips.
Yeah, that's a really good point. The other thing, Sal, is to be honest about what you're drinking as well, too.
Yes.
It's just thinking about that.
Yeah.
If you're a juice person, and you're actually eating your you're juicing, fruit and veg, and you're thinking, well, this is healthy, but it depends on how many fruit and veggies that you've got in that, and then you're also eating as well too. That can also have an impact, So it's really to eat until you feel satisfied. So taking the time to connect with your body and how you're feeling, which is, as I said, it's the most unexpected thing, but the most powerful thing that we are noticing with the women in the Fueled Up program right now. So they are really being totally honest, and that they are taking that time to connect and really feel powerful about what they're eating, and they're getting the results as well too.
Yeah.
Which is marvelous.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah, totally. All right, ladies, that is us for today. Thank you very much for joining us here on Talking Wellbeing TV. If you want more hints, tips and advice, you can catch us over in Women Over 50, Get Active and Healthy, which is our free group. And today we have our weekly challenge that comes up. Tomorrow we have food of the week, and then on Wednesday we share a recipe. And on Saturday you find us in there with exercise of the week. And oh wow, exercise of this week is a downward dog, a plank to a downward dog, to a leg lift, to a spider. So if you want to know how to do that, you need to head over to that group. So thanks for joining me today, Sel, or should I say Sue?
Thanks,
No.
Sue. Sal, Sue.
You can call me Jenny, remember?
Jenny, yeah. Have a great day.
I had a lady for many years, ladies, just before I go, who used to always call me Jenny. And, you know, I did at first, you know, tell her my name was Peter, until in the end I just answered to Jenny. And then one day someone was calling me Peter and she goes, "Your name not Jenny?" No. No, it's not Jenny, but that's okay. Funny story. We know who we're talking about. All right, ladies, take care, everybody. See you soon.
Bye, Peter. Bye, everybody.
Bye.